What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. I am, of course, your host, Reckless Rexx Ruger, a.k.a. Diamond David Lee Roth Jr., as you can plainly see. That's right, you are looking at the son of glam, the front man for the band, adored by millions of fans, Mr. Wop Bop Loo Bop Wop Bam Bam Shazam Hot Damn. Woo, I'm feeling good, and most importantly, as you all know, looking good. And so's my audience out there. Got a beautiful audience. Of course, I got the Freddie Mercury puppet right here, complete with his choppers out in full force tonight. We're getting loose here. Glad to be back doing Pod Scum. As you can plainly see, I don't have the proper decor behind me yet, but it is on the way. I'm transitioning from doing off-the-couch boxing back home again, doing Pod Scum, having the greatest artists in the world on here, man. Interesting cats on here chopping it up with me, man, as only I can do. Of course, a little product placement. You know, tonight's episode brought to you by, if you want a good hole in the ozone layer and hair that won't move, get you some. That being said, tonight is no exception. Another kick-ass episode. What more do I have to say? I mean, come on. I'm going to just go ahead and say it. Nobody does it like me. And I'm going to pat myself on the back. And, of course, tonight is no different. Got another kick-ass episode. I'm very excited about it. And the good thing about this episode is it's already tomorrow where this gentleman is. How do you like them apples? That's right. You also know me as Mr. International. I take it worldwide, folks. Reaching out to my fellow heavy metal brethren in other countries. Yep, that's right. Rexx Ruger goes abroad. As I always have. And want to thank everybody, first and foremost, who tuned in to my former podcast. Well, when I was doing Pod Scum, 175 episodes, and you guys all tuned in, and the masses came, and the subscribers came, and it was awesome. My son and I, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. When we transitioned over to do Off the Couch Boxing, another 160 episodes. Nobody more productive than this channel that you got your eyes feasted on right now. So please like, subscribe, hit that notification button. Stay tapped in with this channel, man, because always going to be amazing content. And we got some coming right now. Our guest is here. Let's get down to it and chop it up. We will get him in here. Un momento. And again, folks, this is when I need the Jeopardy theme song playing. So, na 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 na. And there he is, Matt Young. How are you, sir?
Good, brother. How are you?
I'm good. Well, you know what, man? I don't know, because you're Australian. I don't know if I start out by saying "good day, mate" to you, because you are in the day, but I am in the evening time here.
Yeah, g'day is good, mate. G'day.
Good day.
G'day.
I've always secretly, being an upstate New Yorker, man, I've always secretly coveted the Australian accent, man. To me, it's second to none. It really is.
Oh well, you can have you can have a bit of it this morning with our interview, then.
Yeah, and first of all, I want to go back to the beginning with you, man, and find out, man, for you, you know, when music became like you know, your path in life, man, was there a specific album or an artist or a song that really was your light bulb moment that really kind of set you off on this path?
Well, maybe slightly embarrassing to say, but I tell it anyway, because, you know, everyone has their little gateway, you know, into that stuff. Right. So when I was young, I had an older cousin who was started getting into all the, you know, I grew up in the 80s, and he was into all the cock rock stuff, you know, so it was like Poison, Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue, all that stuff.
Yep.
So that was my introduction to that stuff, and I thought he was cool. So he was cool. But my dad was also a big AC/DC fan. So, you know, while all that was going on, and I thought, oh yeah, that was cool, but my dad was kind of showing me AC/DC as well on the side, which was really cool. And then I guess from there, I just sort of had that natural progression to the heavier and heavier stuff, you know, like I think I heard Whiplash by Metallica.
Yeah.
My cousin showed, oh, Seek and Destroy it was actually. And I heard that and I thought, oh wow, this is cool. And then he showed me some Pantera stuff, Cowboys from Hell. And then I got a cassette tape from a friend, which was taped on a blank cassette of Seasons in the Abyss and Sepultura Arise. And when I heard that, that was probably what changed the trajectory of my life, amongst other things, you know.
Yeah.
I was going to say I saw Cannibal Corpse when I was maybe 13. And the show, that was amazing. And then I saw Slayer and Pantera around the same time, and that was like, I was like, this is what I want to do, you know.
I'm 51 years old too, man. So I fondly remember the 80s as well, man. And it was a good time. And you know, I'm guilty of, as you so poetically put it, I'm guilty of being a fan of some of the cock rock as well.
Well, I think I was like, I must have been 8 or 9 years old, and I went to the Poison concert, Open Up and Say Ah tour.
Yeah.
And
boy, they were fantastic looking chicks, weren't they? They really were beautiful.
Man, I can tell you, for an 8 or 9 year old kid going to that concert here in Australia, it was something else. It was quite an experience.
Yeah, I gotta ask you, man, because you do extreme metal, and obviously it's you know, anybody that listens to metal like knows that, you know, it really takes its toll on the voice. Are you a guy that can just roll that kind of shit out, or are you somebody that ascribes to any kind of like voice care or voice maintenance? Or are you just one of those guys that says fuck it, grab a microphone and just do what you do?
Well, I think there's elements of both with that. You know, it's, for me, I mean, I don't smoke cigarettes or drink or anything like that. So that's my thing. I'm a clean and sober dude. So that helps to start with. Because I remember when I first started doing King Parrot and I was smoking cigarettes and a myriad of other things. It was hard to even get through one rehearsal. So when early days, I decided to give it all up, and it changed the way that my voice sounded. And it would also change the way that that I do things. I've had different tips, and I've done a few lessons here and there, and watched a few videos, and just picked up a few things that I thought would be helpful to me. Some of that Zen of screaming, I know that Melissa Cross. I've looked at some of that stuff, but I think more with the way that I do it, it's more like listening to the bands that I love and trying to emulate some of that sound, or the vocalists that I love, and emulate some of that sound, and just do my own thing. I've never really ever lost my voice on any of our tours or anything like that. I've never had the situation come about where I've had to like cancel shows or anything.
Yeah.
I've always been pretty strong for me. But that being said, you know, as I'm getting a little older now, I like to I drink that tea, that throat coat tea. I really like that. Yeah, that helps a lot, man. I just like the tea itself. I think we've recently just sort of finished up the recording phase of our new record, and man, I went through a lot of boxes of throat coat tea, a lot of boxes. And
I was going to ask you, man, you know, because I would be remiss if I didn't, and I may hear about it in the comment section. So new King Parrot music is on the way.
It's coming, man. Yeah, we're working on the mix at the moment. We did. I was with our engineer Luke Walton down at Danger Tone Studios here in Melbourne last week, and we worked through all the vocals, and we did all the vocal editing and all that stuff, which was great. And that was kind of like the last little thing that we had to get through to start the mix itself. So he's going to be working on that over the next couple of weeks, and yeah, we'll go in a couple of weeks and check out what he's done, and yeah, we're sort of getting to that stage where it's almost done, and it's been an awesome experience. We've had such a great time recording new music. It's maybe taken a little longer than I would have liked, but it's going to be worth it, because I feel like the material is the best that we've written, and also the way that it's been recorded and the work that's been put into it. You know, it just sounds amazing. I'm really stoked with it, and it feels like we're a band now that's sort of coming into our own, and finding our own sound. Well, we've always had our own sound, but just finding the formula for songwriting and things like that. So yeah, there's some cracking songs on the record. I'm really proud of it.
And so how do you make the correlation and get and how does Phil Anselmo find his way into your lives? You know, I mean, he's obviously like a fan. He champions you guys. As a matter of fact, he champions another Australian band, Portal, quite a bit too, man. He really loves to go to Australia and champion you guys over there.
Man, good question. Good question. I think initially we played with the I Hate God guys here in Australia many years ago, like over a decade ago, like when we first started, and we played at a festival, and they just happened to walk in when we were playing, and the place was going bananas, and you know, people jumping all over each other, and we had a really good show that day. And I just remember looking over and seeing Joey and Mike Nine and Jimmy Bauer and Gary all standing on the side of the stage, just watching and laughing because it was just such a crazy show that we were doing. It was inside a venue called the Cherry Bar, and it was killer. So we got to hang out with those guys that day, and got to meet them a little bit. And I don't know, a couple months after that, I just had an email in my inbox, and it was Phil writing to us, and I called our guitarist and I said, dude, I think Phil Anselmo just emailed us. And he must have been online, because I started replying, and we just kept shooting the shit back and forth. And we met him at Soundwave a few months after that. We were playing at Soundwave Festival. It was a big thing out here in Australia probably 10 years ago, and they were Down were playing, and Phil was already wearing a King Parrot shirt, and we got up and jammed with Down that day. And then we had our first tour to America a couple months after that. We went out and stayed at their place, and yeah, we've just been great friends since then. Done lots of tours together, done lots of great stuff together, and recorded together, and been all over the world.
So are you currently still on Phil's label?
Yeah. We're with Housecore Records. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're with Housecore Records for North America, and Agonia Records in Europe, and I got my own label, Dead Set Records, here in Australia.
And when you guys get together and you are going to go, start to create this new album, man, what's the creative process like for you guys as a band? You know, does somebody come in with the lion's share of the ideas? Is it very democratic and collaborative? Does everybody kind of bring ideas to the table?
Well, this has been an interesting one, because our drummer Todd lives up in Brisbane, so we haven't, like, during the whole COVID thing, we got to play a few shows here and there when the restrictions relaxed a little bit. But we didn't get to play much at all for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, that sucked.
When that was all happening, and we just couldn't play. So we just took a break, you know. It was just it's nice to have a break. We'd been at it for 10 years pretty hard. And so there was some ideas that were floating around initially, sort of before COVID, and, you know, a few things during COVID. But then I think maybe last year we kind of made a concerted effort and said, let's, you know, we've been back playing shows for a year or so, let's do a new record. So we just sort of compiled all our ideas and got everything together and made it happen. So it's Mr. White, our guitarist. He's probably he writes a fair whack of all the riffs. Like he writes quite a lot of the music, but that's not to say that the other guys don't have input as well,
right?
But it really becomes a King Parrot song when we get it into the jam room and finesse it, you know, and we mess with the structures and the way it's going, and we get some vocal hooks going and some lines, some stuff happening. And, you know, we kind of do it old school. It's not just sort of one guy going in and, you know, writing computer drums and all that sort of shit, which a lot of bands do these days. It's we like
you guys like getting in a room and playing together. Yeah,
we love developing the songs together organically and working it. You know, and I'll come up with a vocal idea, and then I'll be like, okay, maybe we need to do this bit shorter, maybe we need to do this bit longer, you know, that kind of thing. And it's a really organic process. And I think we forgot during that whole COVID thing how much fun we have and how much we enjoy fucking writing music and then demoing the music and then listening back to it and changing it and, you know, and then doing the whole recording process itself, you know. So it's been a hell of a time. We've had the most fun with the band in that regard that we've had in such a long time, and it's going to be great to get this new record out and get back on the road and do some touring and stuff, because it's going to be great to be able to sort of infuse all these new songs into the set.
And what's the the format that works best for you guys? Like, meaning, will this be like a fully realized album, an EP? What will this be?
Oh, no, it's just going to be it's going to be an album. It's like, it's just a standard record. Like what we're old school, so we want to, we just stick with what works. But we'll do a few videos. We're working on some video concepts and ideas at the moment, and
well, just for a while during COVID there, it seemed like people were really hitting like the singles, and they were putting out EPs, and it almost seemed like people were shying away from fully realized albums there for a while.
Yeah, I hear you, man. And I've been hearing it a lot from lots of people that I know in the music industry too. It's like, it's all about singles. But I think essentially, like, I love the album. I love the format of an album. I love holding the record. I'm a record collector, man. I'm a vinyl collector. I love that shit. And I love the artwork, and I love all the liner notes and the lyrics, and I love holding it in my hands, and I love colored vinyl and all that sort of shit. So
yeah. And I think extreme music, and I think extreme like metal music, I think it's best represented, via a full album though, because usually, like, you guys have, extreme metal in general, you guys always seem to have like there's a cohesion like to the full album. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like an experience. Like, you used to pop an album on it, and you used to just kind of take the ride with the album. You know what I mean? And everything that needed to be said couldn't necessarily be said in 1 or 2 or 4 songs.
Totally, man. Exactly what I think. And I think with our sort of music being on a more extreme end, it's not like we're taking up 45 minutes of your time or an hour of your time with our album. Like, our record's probably going to be between, I think it's like 25 or 30 minutes or something like that. It's not like it's not a huge ask to sit there and listen to the whole record,
Right.
So,
right. It's not a 75-minute Metallica album.
No, we didn't get the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra in on this one, bro. No. but it's but as you were saying, like, I think there's ways that you do things now, like you drip feed singles and stuff like that. You might put out a video at the start and then drip feed a few singles and things like that before the album itself comes out. So we'll do that. So we'll do that stuff, and hopefully the album will see the light of day sometime next year.
And because extreme metal music is one of those things where, it's not as mainstream, it's not as, it doesn't pull in loads and loads of money, obviously, like from an economical standpoint. It has a very niche audience or whatever. You know what I mean? You guys all have to work day jobs as well?
Oh, yeah. We work day jobs, yeah.
And so what kind of like luxury do you have in order to be able to go out and tour? Do you guys all have understanding jobs, like where you can go away for a while? Yeah,
man. Yeah. Like, we it's like a case by case kind of basis.
Yeah.
When we're playing here in Australia, we might do it, like, obviously you don't go out on those kind of 6-week tours like you do in North America.
Right.
Or Europe. Here you can get it done. A lot of bands will do it in a week. They'll just do like Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, Perth, 5 shows. That's the main capital cities, right? We tend to do a little bit more than that because we're from here. We're doing a tour in November. We're bringing out our friends from North Carolina, Weed Eater. And,
nice. Yeah.
We got a big Aussie tour coming up with those guys, and we're going to take them to a few of the smaller markets. Some of the places that a lot of American bands would never even go to. So that's going to be.
Are you somebody that enjoys being out on the road? Like, do you like that kind of nomadic existence, or are you somebody that really likes your creature comforts and likes being home?
Man, I like both. I do like traveling. I've always been a great traveler. I've always loved and enjoyed that. Touring is it's a whole nother thing in itself. I just view it as work. It's a lot of people, think, oh wow, that's cool, man, going on tour and all that sort of stuff. It might be cool and luxurious and stuff if you're in Motley Crue or Guns N' Roses or something like that. But when you're doing what we do, it's pretty hard work, and you know, it's pretty grueling.
Yeah.
In the sense that, you know, yeah, you sort of, there's so much travel. You're usually in a van, or a couple of times we've been able to get lucky enough to be able to be on buses and stuff like that, which makes it a lot more comfortable. But when you're in those vans and you're kind of lying down on those bench seats and stuff,
brutal.
after a couple of weeks.
Yeah. So there's no King. So there's no King Parrot private jet yet.
Not yet. No way, bro. I'm working towards it now. So it's one of those things. I mean, and we love it, you know, getting to play shows every day. I mean, what's there not to love about that? And just the whole experience of it. I mean, we got to go back to America last year for the first time since COVID, and did a massive tour. You know, like it was like 4 to 6 weeks or something like that, and it was huge, man. And I just forgot how many people we knew, like we know over there. And it was just every place we went to, it was like, oh man,
yeah,
another friend, another person, another awesome experience, you know. And you guys are so hospitable over there and so welcoming. And you know, like it really blew us away, like some of the things that people would do for us while we were there, bringing us gifts and food and tacos and all sorts of shit, man. It was. I remember one. We were in Detroit, and this woman texted sent a message to our Facebook page and said, "Oh, I've got some gifts for you." I never even met this woman or heard from her or anything like that. She was an older lady, and she. I said, "Oh, well, we're just sitting out the front in the bus. If you want to come and knock on the door." And she came and knocked on the door half an hour later and had this huge hamper with all of this stuff, like a bag, a Detroit tote bag, and a T-shirt and shorts and a hat and a beanie and socks. And there was a bottle of whiskey in there and a bottle of vodka and some weed.
Wow.
And man, all this stuff. And I was just blown away by that, man. I was, and that amongst other things, you know, we had a buddy, our buddy Biff down in Houston just bought this huge esky full of tacos for everyone to eat. It's like,
thank God for American hospitality. Huh? It makes road life pretty nice.
You don't get that shit over here, that's for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
And so, what was COVID like for you guys as a band? If you can kind of rewind the clock a little bit, because you guys had just put out an EP in 2020, right? Did that derail a lot of plans for you guys and fuck up a lot of shit?
Well, I think we had those songs. We had those songs recorded, and they were kind of essentially. We set ourselves a little goal once when we were down at Anselmo's place. We had a week off after a tour, and we just went in and recorded those songs. We wrote and recorded them all in the space of like 5 or 6 days. And I don't know if they were potentially going to be for a new record or something, but we just wanted to set ourselves a goal. Let's get moving on the next record. And so we did that, and those songs were just sitting there. So that actually came out as a result of COVID and not being able to tour and play and all of that sort of stuff. We thought, you know, let's just put out an EP and do something so that it's there. But we got to we had a tour booked for our 10-year anniversary tour, and we got to play 2 of those shows. We played in Melbourne and Adelaide, but then the restrictions here were so tight that we couldn't really do anything. We rescheduled the dates a whole bunch of times, and I just got to a point where we were like, there's no point in trying to even make this happen. Let's just can it. So we got to do Melbourne and Adelaide, and that was it. We had like a 12 or 14 show tour booked, and so that was the end of that. But it was the restrictions here in Melbourne especially were really, really tight. You know, they had army people, and you know, they had what they called the Ring of Steel around Melbourne. So if you weren't in the metropolitan area of Melbourne, you weren't allowed to go in, and you had to have a letter or something.
Jesus, man! Wow, you guys took the COVID shit serious.
Yeah, they were out of control, man. It was crazy. Now
when we look back at it, it almost seems kind of laughable, though. I mean, I understand what was going on at the world at that time, man. But I mean, I don't feel like we're any better or worse off, though. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, people died from it, man. But I work in healthcare by day. My day job is a nurse. People die from the fucking flu and pneumonia all the time too. I don't know if it was I don't know. I want to word this carefully. I don't know if it was the catastrophe that we made it out to be, though. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was a serious thing or whatever, man. But I had it a couple times, and I didn't really treat myself any different than I would have treated myself had I had a cold or the flu. There wasn't much you could really do but over-the-counter shit and keep yourself hydrated and rest.
Yeah, much like the flu, huh?
Yeah, I mean, what else could you really do? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't even know. I don't even really know how effective. Like, did you get immunizations, or did you stay away from them? Yeah.
I wasn't into it, man. I just do my own thing, and I'm not a fan of that stuff.
I unfortunately had that. I had them forced on me. It actually became like mandatory here, man. If you worked in healthcare,
well,
yeah. I had no choice. It's either get vaccinated or be unemployed.
Well, I became unemployed.
Is that right though? You because of COVID, it affected your job?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But I just. I believe in what I believe, and
it
is like, each to their own, and that was the sad thing about the whole thing, is that people couldn't respect one another's human rights, and there's lots of people that see it other ways and all of that sort of stuff. But at the bottom, at the end of the day, and the bottom line for me is like you respect other people's human rights.
No doubt.
Respect what anyone wants to do, and if you can't respect people's choices, well, then you got to, around that sort of stuff, then you got to look at what you're doing. I mean, you want to do it, fine. You don't want to do it, fine.
To each his own. Yeah, exactly. Now, now, because you were from Australia, and I may get my odd viewers on here, may ask me why I didn't ask Australia-related questions. So I don't really have anything prepared, man. But I'm just trying to think of Australia in general. How often in an average week do you see kangaroos?
Well, I've just moved. Actually, I moved house, and I'm living up. I'm living up in the countryside kind of now, and I see kangaroos every day.
All the time.
Yeah. Well, if you live out here, you see them. Like I go jogging and stuff, and the track that I go jogging on, man, there's kangaroos everywhere.
And so they are not dangerous, though.
Well, you don't want to go start any shit with them, that's for sure. Like you don't want to. It was funny. Someone from America actually just sent me this video this morning about these American dudes saying that they could beat up a kangaroo, and it's
impossible,
on my Facebook,
right?
It's on my Facebook page. Yeah, but I think the thing with kangaroos is that people don't understand is they've got this huge long tail, and they sit back on their tail and they kick with their back legs. And if they get those legs into you, they got these claws on there, and it'll just rip you open.
But typically, they won't be the aggressor, though. Like you're saying that if you're minding your own business, they'll mind their own business.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. They won't come anywhere near you. Yeah.
And what about I want to ask about Vegemite. How much of it do you think? Now, again, the same question on a weekly basis. How much Vegemite consumption are we doing?
Well, I don't eat it so much.
You don't like it so much?
Well, I don't mind it, but I grew up with it. But I don't have it. It's not my favorite thing, that's for sure. But my daughter will have it for sure. My daughter loves it, and it's more of a thing for kids, I think. You put it on, you get the toast, and you got to melt the butter. You have to melt the butter. That's the key.
First.
You got to melt the butter on the toast, and then you put the Vegemite on, and it's sort of a combination of the Vegemite and the butter, and it's got to be sort of oily almost. Like it's pretty good, man. Vegemite with cheese is a thing.
What would you compare it to as far as like an American food? Like, because like we think about spreading stuff on a toast, like we think of like butter, peanut butter, jam, or jelly.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing like any of those things, that's for sure. I don't know if you have other things like Marmite or anything like that. I mean, there's nothing really like it. I haven't seen anything like it when I've been in America many times. Like I haven't seen that there's anything like Vegemite, but I know that I've sent it over to a lot of people, like friends and stuff in America. They're like, "I want to try Vegemite," or I've sent it in the mail to people many times.
Is it something that you crave when you're like on tour here in the, like here in the States, or is it something you could kind of do without?
I can do without it, that's for sure.
Yeah. You've had your fair share of it growing up then.
I've had more than my fair share of Vegemite over the years, that's for sure, bro.
Now, a lot of great bands have come out of Australia. Like you mentioned AC/DC earlier, man. The greatest band to come out of Australia. Is it AC/DC? Has to be?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, they're probably the greatest band in the world.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll look at just the sheer fact that the longevity and the way that they've done the whole thing and that they're still doing it now, which is incredible, is just something really special. But I listen back to the Bon Scott records, and they're my favorite records. And
yeah,
Back in Black's obviously great as well, and all of that. And then there's sort of all the '80s stuff. Like there's some good tracks on Flick of the Switch, and like I don't know. I love the Bon Scott stuff the most personally. I as a band, like with King Parrot, I think our favorite collective record is Power Age.
Yeah, so, that's a great one. Yeah,
we love that record. But the first one I got introduced to by my old man was Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. And
a classic. Yeah,
that was that sort of has had a lasting impression on my life. That record. So yeah.
So what do you think the timeline is for this new King Parrot album? Can we expect it in 2024 or more likely 2025?
It'll be next year, I think. But depending on how we go with the mixing, and we're doing a video soon, so I'm hoping we can maybe get a single out this year. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm hoping for. But that'll just also depend on the labels and whether or not we can get all that stuff lined up quick enough and all of that. But I'm hopeful that we can. We just got to get it happening and get it moving. And yeah, it'll be exciting to get that out there. We've got a great idea for a video too, which I won't divulge. It'll be a nice surprise.
Don't divulge it. Yeah, let's keep it under wraps, man. Let's surprise the fans. That's always a good thing.
But we've always had fun with our music videos, so that's
you do. Yeah,
we're gonna have a great time with, and there's a few other ideas, a few other some cool shit that we're gonna try and do. So just make it a little different, and try some different things, and the way the world is now with all the video stuff and the reels and all that sort of shit. I guess you got to play into that stuff a little bit too, and make that happen. So we'll do all that stuff and get it out there, and get back on the road. Hopefully get back over there to see you guys next year too.
And who's the one that usually has the best head in the band for that kind of stuff? Like I know everybody wants to be artists. Nobody really wants to deal with the business aspect. But in your band, who does that usually fall on? Who's the best with the business acumen?
Well, it's definitely me.
You? It usually falls on you. Yeah.
I do all the management stuff. I do all that stuff. So yeah, that's my job for sure.
Is it a role that you like, or is it a role that you just kind of fucking fell into because you have the best knack for it?
I definitely fell into it at the start, but it was just it was just because like things like we started up at like a merch store or online or whatever. We got all these t-shirts and shit, and I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, we delegated all the tasks and stuff, and I think it was our guitarist who was supposed to do it. I'm like, dude, I'm looking at the thing, and I'm like seeing all this stuff, and there's been orders here for like 3 months, bro. What the fuck are you doing, man? He's like, oh man, I've been busy with it. I'm like, just give me the fucking t-shirts, like I'm doing it.
Let me take the reins.
Pay money for our shit, not getting their stuff for 3 months. Like he was just like, oh no, and I was like, oh man, fucking give me the box. I'm doing it. And
by the way, man, you guys do a great job with merch, and I do got to get my hands on some King Parrot merch because you guys do a fantastic job, like with your merchandise, man. A lot of great designs and just a lot of cool shit in general.
Yeah, man. Yeah, check out the indie merch. We've got a great web store in America, the indie merch one. It's got heaps of stuff in there. It's they're great people and great to work with, and have been super helpful to us over the years. So yeah, there's lots of great stuff in there at the moment. But yeah, like in terms of the management stuff, it was sort of, it all just kind of fell onto me, and I've enjoyed it. You know, I've grown to love it. You know, I've grown to enjoy it. I enjoy being the organizer and the logistics person and all of that sort of stuff. It's something that you know, it's challenging, but it's really good fun, and it's great to be working towards something that you love doing.
Yeah, couple more questions, man. Before I let you off here, man, your
Sure.
Mount Rushmore, you know, and again, if you're not familiar with Mount Rushmore, which I'm sure you probably are, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's here in the United States, South Dakota. The faces of 4 presidents on there, if I got my geography and my history right, you know. But for you, your Mount Rushmore of musical artists, for you, your top 4 that are your go-to. They don't even got to be metal. Yeah, your 4.
And then 4 vocalists or just anyone?
No, just your 4 artists, man. Your 4 go-to when you got time to listen to music. You know what I mean? That put a smile on your face.
Well, it's got to be Bon Scott.
Okay. So AC/DC will say. Okay.
It's got to be Bon Scott.
Okay, the Bon Scott era AC/DC.
Yeah, it's got to be Bon. It's got to be Ozzy Osbourne. Just because I love his, you know, like people who are, you know, Dio this and, you know, Dio's a better singer and blah, blah, blah. Ozzy's just Ozzy, right? You know, he doesn't get better than Ozzy. Yeah. And then, you know, probably, man, it's so hard to say any of the other 2 because they're always my 2 favorite of all time, you know. But then I think about, you know, and strangely, you know, and that we've become involved with Phil and Pantera and the whole, well, not just Pantera, but all, like Housecore Records and all of that sort of stuff. The impact that stuff had on me was such a huge thing when I was a teenager, and then to sort of later become involved and stuff. You know, I owe a lot to that guy. You know, he's great. Been huge influence, champions the underground scene. You know, and he's been a huge supporter of us. So I got to tip my hat to Phil every day of the week. And then, then it could be anyone. But I like, you know, maybe someone like Max Cavalera.
Oh, you know? Love him. Yeah. He's one of those guys that every project he dips his toe into is always full-bore metal. He lives it every day. He really does.
Yeah, he's an incredible guy, and the touring and the commitment that he shows to music is incredible, man. I'm just like, it blows me away with like all the tours. And my buddy Mike De Leon is playing guitar for Soulfly. You know, and we've toured with Soulfly in Europe in the past, and you know, we've been friends with Max for a long time, and such a great guy. Their whole crew is amazing, and
the thing that's great about Max is that it's really like a family affair too. Everybody's out. The sons, you know, Gloria, they're all fantastic. I mean, yeah,
they're all great people, and we've been, you know, like, and every time we see them or we get the opportunity to cross paths or whatever, it's like, yes, fucking awesome, and they're great people, man, but Max, you know, just some of the stuff that he's worked on over the years has been incredible. But then there's so many more, you know, that sit on other little Mount Rushmores for me too. But.
Yeah. and the one title in your catalog that really speaks to me, because I've used this term a lot and I've never heard it put into a song, but I use it to describe my aches and pains and how I feel sometimes on a fucking daily basis. But 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. Who comes up with that? Who's saying that in your camp?
Well, we've got a lot of that stuff in our music, you know, and it's I don't know if it's specifically an Australian colloquialism, but I've actually, there's another band called Retox that had a song with the same title that I only found out about after. And I don't know whether or not we did it first or they did it first, but I think it's they're guys that may have something to do with Ipecac and Mike Patton's label. But it came up and I was like, there's a shit. There's another song called that. But our guitarist Squiz, he's from Tasmania, and he has a real knack for quirky and
yeah, that's a good one.
Sayings and things like that. That's kind of where Shit on the Liver came from. And
yeah,
you know, there's a few other. There's going to be a few on this new record as well.
He knows how to turn a phrase.
Yeah. He's great, man. He's hilarious. It's so funny. He's you just being around him, and he just blurts out all of this stuff, and it just comes out naturally, you know, just like it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I love.
And by the way, side note, man, I am having Todd on next week.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, tell him I said
Yeah, I set something up with Todd too. Usually when I'm going to reach out and I really like bands, you know, I never really know, you know, who's comfortable with doing like the media stuff and everything like that. So like, I'll usually kind of throw out a blanket message to multiple guys in the band who I see on YouTube that are kind of comfortable doing the podcast thing. But I just kind of sit back and see who responds though. You know what I mean? And you and Todd seem to be the most accessible on social media. So.
Oh, totally. Yeah. The other guys aren't, you know, I mean, it's a shame because Slats is really good at this stuff, but he's just sort of, he's a bit of a recluse.
It's not everybody's cup of tea. It's not.
Yeah. No, that's right. You know, I mean, but it's kind of like a necessary evil at this point in time with the way that things are going, and everyone's sort of glued to their phone and all that sort of stuff. So you just got to do it and be accessible, I guess. And,
plus the music business has changed so much, man, that you got to use almost every promotional tool at your disposal. You know what I mean? And kind of embrace it. You know, obviously people aren't, you know, I don't have to tell you that people aren't out there, you know, gobbling up albums and buying CDs like they used to. You know, I mean,
yeah. The whole thing, the whole gamut has changed, and
the game's changed. Yeah, it really has, man.
It really has, and we're t-shirt salesmen now, so. That's what we do. We sell T-shirts and play shows, and that's until something changes, that's how it is, and that's cool. That's all good. And, you know, people that like records and all of that sort of old school stuff, they still buy it. So not at the same rate as what they probably used to, but it's cool, man. It's better to be doing it and having fun and enjoying and doing what you love. Like, I'm just grateful that we get to do what we love doing and get some of the opportunities that we get to have, and, you know, like, make great friends, like people that I've idolized as a kid. You know, I've got to meet a lot of these people. You know, like, I've met Phil Anselmo. I know Phil Anselmo, Max Cavalera. I've met Ozzy Osbourne before. You know, I've got to meet these people that I love and that I like idolize and respect their work, and amongst all of the other bands and stuff that we played with and toured with, it's just it's an incredible thing to be part of it and make an impact, you know, where we can. And it's exciting just to do it, you know.
Well, I know there's a big time difference here, man. I'm at after 9 o'clock at night, so I know it's morning time there for you, man. So I appreciate you, man, making the time, man, and sacrificing, you know, a part of your morning, man, to chop it up with me, man. Definitely stay in touch, man. This was a lot of fun. I'd love to do it again for sure.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Once the new record comes, we'll have a chat and we'll catch up again. Hopefully, we can catch up in person when we're over there on tour next.
Would love it, man. Absolutely, man. Matt, really appreciate it, man. Thanks so much, buddy. It was really good talking to you, my friend.
Yeah, you too, man. Thank you for your support. We're really grateful for your support. Thank you, bro.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Good talking to you, man.
See you, brother.
All right, take it easy. There he goes, folks. Matt Young, vocalist for Australia's King Parrot. I don't know what you want to call him. I'm not big into the whole fucking branding. People call him grindcore, this, that, the other thing, man. Just a fucking killer extreme metal band, King Parrot. Just doing their fucking thing out there, man. Loads of fucking fun, man. Heavy as fuck, man. And as you hear, man, new music is on the way. That's straight from vocalist Matt Young. So there's your King Parrot update, man. Expect new music next year, 2025, man. They're in the studio. They're doing their fucking thing, man. And hey, fucking Phil Anselmo fucking supports him. So who the fuck are you not to fucking support him? No, seriously, man. Phil Anselmo, man, champions these guys. As you heard, they're on Housecore Records. You can see Phil Anselmo on many occasions sporting King Parrot fucking merch, man. And for good reason, man. These guys fucking kick ass. Their last full length was 2017's Ugly Produce, which I would certainly recommend you check out. They also did an EP in 2020, Hold Up in the Lair. But go check out the whole fucking catalog. It's out there wherever the fuck you go on and listen to your music. You know the whole fucking spiel. If you're buying vinyl, I'm sure that you can find vinyl on their site or through Housecore Records. And they're on all the streaming platforms, man. So do yourself a favor. Go fucking tap into King Parrot, man. And then you can come back and tell Rexx Ruger, thank you, Rexx, for turning me on to King Parrot, because you will be thanking me, man. Killer fucking band, killer fucking dudes. And everything is killer about fucking Australia, man. And so appreciate that. Huge time difference as well, 14 hours, man. So it's mañana for him, man. So I appreciate him taking the time, man. Thank you so much, Matt Young. Hope you guys enjoyed that episode of Pod Scum, man. And as always, man, stay tapped in. Hit the like and subscribe and notification button, man. Stay tapped in, man, for the best fucking conversations. This is where people come to chop it up, man. We get down to the brass tacks, man, and chop it up real style right here, man. So stay tapped in, man, and appreciate the fucking support as always, man. Big thank you to the artists that are coming on here, man. We're back in full swing. Pod Scum was here. Off the Couch Boxing was here for 160 episodes. Go back and check that shit out, man. It's the best boxing podcast on the planet while it lasted, man. And it may make its return, but right now, back to doing Pod Scum full time, man. So expect more kick-ass interviews like this one with Matt Young from King Parrot, man. So thank you guys so much. And as I always tell you guys, remember, take it easy and keep it sleazy.